Cheers.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
First official doctor on the show. I appreciate it.
Very good.
Thank you.
You did a good job.
Thank you. There was one ingredient that I couldn't find anywhere that I wanted, and that was celery bitters,
Oh,
which
interesting.
I just like one or two quick dashes would have like really perfected it. But I'm very happy with how this turned out.
Just as good as the one you made me when we met, so it's fine.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so thank you for coming on. I
course.
appreciate you taking the time. I sent you some questions ahead of time. You thought about them.
Yes.
Perfect. I say we dive right in. You've gone to med school and now you're working in a hospital. What made you originally want to become a doctor? And did it meet expectations, or did expectations change through med school, or how has everything kind of panned out?
So, I mean, I was lucky in that I was sort of born into medicine. Both of my parents are doctors and are both in pediatrics, which is what I'm in. So I just kind of grew up around it, and like my parents really fostered this interest and love of it. Like sitting at the dinner table essentially was like every night, you know, my parents presenting to each other patients and saying, oh, what do you think? And kind of discussing differentials and things like that, which is basically what we do at work all day anyways. So that was really it. And I kind of always knew I wanted to do it. But I think what's more interesting is sort of why I chose to do the field that I chose.
Are you allowed to say that much?
Yeah, so in pediatrics for sure, and I do plan to apply to a hematology oncology fellowship, which is blood and cancer. So that'll be a year from now. But essentially, you know, when I was a young adult, I asked my parents, each of them, like, why did you choose what you do? And my dad, who's a pediatric surgeon, said that for him, the most rewarding thing is getting kids back to their lives. Kid comes in, throwing up, has appendicitis. You take out his appendix, and 3 days later, he's back on the soccer field, and like nothing happened. And so that was, you know, what made my dad feel fulfilled. My mom, who is a pediatric neurologist and mostly does epilepsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a whole different story. And I was like, that's really depressing. Like, you know, some people have epilepsy and they take medications and they're fine and you wouldn't even know it. And then there's some kids who, for the rest of their lives, are going to be, you know, have seizures or be very debilitated. So obviously I could not fit my dad's sort of perspective on that. So I asked her, and she said for her, it was, you know, helping the family and the patient, if they're old enough, sort of get used to the life that they were going to have and how to enjoy that life and make the most of it. And so that was it for her. So I think I fall somewhere in the middle. And for me, it's really about figuring out the puzzle. And yes, part of me is just like, because I love medicine and I'm very curious and whatever. But also I've learned that really for parents, especially for kids who are sick for a very long time, they want an answer and they want to know why things are happening. And so I think that really kind of drives me, because once you know what it is, then you can start to treat it or figure out how you're going to treat it, which is ultimately the goal. So
trying to figure out the pieces of the puzzle and kind of solve it, figure out why the things are doing the things they're doing. Is that a drive that you have because you want to be able to give that answer to the parents? Or is it more you want to know because the puzzle fascinates you, and then you can also tell the parents, but also you really need to solve it for you?
So I think it's a little bit of both, but at the end of the day, it is to give the parents the peace of mind and also to help find the treatment that we need. Because actually one of my attendings, who are like, they're the bosses, they're the highest level up, she was explaining to me like one of the milestones of medicine as you mature and get older or more advanced is being okay with ambiguity and being okay with not having an answer, because medicine's always evolving. Sometimes we don't know what's going on. Like, you know, look at COVID or other things. And every day, like even in the last month, I've had so many patients come in with things that either are new or have, you know, a few cases have been discovered ever. So sometimes you don't always get an answer. So I think it's more searching for that answer kind of for the family and so that we can treat the kid. Yeah.
Okay. So your parents gave you two very different answers. You kind of found yourself in the middle. Moving towards hematology and oncology, that kind of feels more on the like neuroscience aspect of it. So do you think that because oncology, you don't always get to get him back on the soccer field a few days later.
Right. Well, definitely not a few days later, but
Definitely, yeah.
yes.
I don't know why oncology. I mean, there's I imagine dozens of different practices that could be in that same. I want to solve the puzzle. I want to teach parents and families how to now live with this new life. What was it about oncology specifically, or hematology and oncology?
So part of it is I think that, when we think of oncology, a lot of us go to we think of what the adult model is, which I did one rotation in medical school of adult oncology, and like kudos to the people who can do it. There's a field for everyone, but like I just could not handle that because people get so sick and they usually don't do well. But kids are so resilient, and the cancers that they get, like one of them has like a 90% cure rate, and I don't just mean like 90% you can help treat it and it goes into remission, whatever. I mean like cure, like it's over.
Like gone, probably never coming back.
Exactly.
What do you mind if I ask what kind of cancer that is?
So that's Hodgkin's lymphoma is usually one that's kind of more treatable.
Isn't that the one that you get in adults, or is it non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that's kind of a death sentence of sorts?
So Hodgkin's lymphoma, you can usually young adults. So like I personally like have friends who have had it like at 20s, that type of age. So it's usually like we actually in our hospital see adults. My oldest patient I ever saw was 35, which is older than me. But yeah, the non-Hodgkin's are usually more severe. And that's just because, well, one of the reasons is because they usually present at a more advanced stage. So yeah, that's usually why. But there, that's a big simplification.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're talking to me and I don't want to speak for the audience, but I have no medical training. So I'll take the broad generalizations and understand that that's what they are.
And I mean, also I'm very early. I'm a fetus in this field. So still learning a lot as well. But.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be fun if you listen to this back in a year and you're like, what was I talking about? I was way off.
Yeah. And that's true. Yeah. Sorry, everyone, if I teach you wrong things.
No, I mean, I think everyone kind of understands, like, you just said that you're going to be applying for this oncology and hematology, which means you haven't learned anywhere near what you're going to learn. And
exactly.
I'm sure when you're still doing this, do doctors typically retire at 65 or do they kind of keep going?
No, yeah. My dad he's 64 maybe, and he's not retiring anytime soon. No.
Yeah. So when you're 65, 70, 75, you're still going to be learning.
Yes. Oh yeah. You learn your entire life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they say, and I'm not sure if they've done any kind of real study, but I feel like everyone kind of has anecdotal evidence of, when you retire, when you kind of slow down, then your body starts really aging faster, and it's the work that keeps you kind of going. I don't remember who it was, but I heard this story of this guy. He had a friend who was working at a bank or finance something on Wall Street, and he was working until he was 70, and they forced him to retire. And when he was 70 and he was working there, he looked 55, snappy dresser, thin. He was working out, good hairline, all the things that kind of make you seem young and healthy. And he didn't see him for like a year and a half, saw him when he was 71, 72, and he said he looked like he was 80.
Oh, man.
It's like, he wasn't sick or anything. He didn't get anything super detrimental. He wasn't going through chemo or anything. Just no purpose in getting up out of bed every morning and just kind of age, just kind of hit the gas pedal all the way. So I don't know. Very different field, but I also don't have any plan of retiring at 65 or 70 or 80.
Well, it's also crazy because I think that and this is not even related, but totally, unrelated, but
Get totally unrelated.
That's how my mind works. But people nowadays, I feel look younger in general at ages. Like, you ever see those memes that are like, this is what a 40-year-old looked like in 1980 something?
Yes.
And it's like what a 60-year-old looks like now?
Yes. I saw a really scary one. It was a poster for Cheers, the TV show.
Yeah.
And it had all of the ages of the people next to them. Not the ages of what the character is supposed to be, but of the actor in the photo, how old that person actually was. And like Ted Danson, do you remember what Ted Danson looked like in Cheers?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 31.
You're
believe.
kidding.
I'm
Wow.
Not, I want to be 100% accurate. 31, 34, our age roughly, like early 30s, late 20s.
Wow.
Cheers age poster. This is worth looking up.
Well, I have just started rewatching Friends for the 674th time.
35. I apologize.
35.
Yeah. Take a look at that real quick.
I have to hold it.
Yeah.
Can't find him on here.
He's got the long brown hair. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I think it's the hair.
Yeah.
On all of them.
Yeah. I also didn't realize top middle, Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, he looks young there.
He looks young.
Yeah.
But he also looks the same as he did.
That is true.
In like whatever his latest movie was, which I don't even remember, or True Detective or anything. But yeah, but I've also heard that
Sorry.
That one's the one on me. Let's not. I'm kidding. I've heard that millennials are aging well, but now Gen Z, the generation younger than us, is aging faster than us.
Oh yeah, like the teenagers who look, they're jailbait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy that I follow. His Instagram handle is Jordan the Stallion. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that always pops up with his phone like in the mirror whenever like there's a recipe of something or a cool device of something, and he's the guy that finds it and tells everyone how to find it, what website it's on. He's 28, and people keep telling him he looks like he's in his 40s.
Oh, wow.
Like 40, 45. This is a guy that
I'm not familiar with, so you might have to show me.
You'll definitely recognize the first. See, I look it up, and the first thing that pops up on Google is Jordan the Stallion age. This guy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I live under a rock a little bit when it comes to social media and those things.
He's always doing like these in the mirror kind of style.
No, but thank you for teaching me who he is.
Okay. Well, look at him, and how old do you think he is?
I would probably say like 35, like that.
He's 26.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would definitely think he's older than me.
Yeah, crazy. And I don't think that anyone really knows why Gen Z is aging so much faster than us. But I'm happy to be in the aging gracefully generation.
It's true.
Okay, I have more questions. You've gone through medical school. You're working in a hospital. What's one thing that you kind of see, not daily, but could be daily, in the system that you would change if you could?
There's so many that I would change if I could. But I think one of the biggest is like allocation of resources. For instance, insurance. And I'm going to preemptively say I do not understand insurance very well. I just know that insurance rejects everything I do. But essentially, like, it's crazy. We'll have kids, for instance, who have a bad infection and need to take, a week or so of antibiotics. But it's like a stronger antibiotic or a different type than like your normal amoxicillin or something. And, unfortunately, kids who are under like 6 years old, like can't take pills and they need the liquid form. Insurance will literally reject paying for the liquid form of this medication. And so the kid has to stay in the hospital for, 4 or 5 more days to get the IV version. And it's like, you're literally throwing money away because you don't want to pay for this medication, but now you're paying for an extra 4 or 5 days in the hospital.
And that's more expensive, I'm guessing.
Like thousands and thousands of dollars. And then that's not even taking into account like the fact that, first of all, kids are disgusting and like viral plagues. It's really crazy. But like now you've kept this kid and being in the hospital is not benign, and you've exposed him to all these bugs, probably gets sick while he's there. You can't send him home while he's like throwing up and not able to tolerate, like it prolongs stay. Like, so that's just like one example where it's a waste of money. It's detrimental to the patient and their family. And even, us doctors, as we're a resource, and with how much time we spend arguing with insurance companies, doing prior authorizations, trying to figure out what medication we can kind of finagle or what lies we can kind of, I'm not going to say that I've ever done this, but, there was an asthma medication an inhaler that I couldn't get for my patient. And I was kind of like, well, what if we just dropped the one on the floor that we're using here? And so we need to get them another one. We can't give the kid the inhaler that had been on the floor. And then they just take both home with them so they have enough to get them through, and that's crazy,
I also don't understand insurance. I know that it doesn't make sense just from a consumer perspective. I started this job at a restaurant near Lincoln Center, and I asked about insurance, and they're like, yeah, we have a pretty good insurance. It's $110 a week. I'm like, that's on a good month, that's $440 towards effectively almost nothing. But then, if I get sick, it's great to have it. But also it seems like if I get sick and I need something, I might not even be able to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it's there for. That's the whole reason that it's there. That's super frustrating. So what would you do? Would you try and invent a new system, or would you just get rid of insurance altogether and make everything affordable? But also, would that, do you think that would cause a decline in quality of doctors and hospitals and everything?
That's a great question.
Because I know...
It's controversial.
It is controversial. I know everything is expensive, but I also know that y'all do a job that is not easy and deserve to get paid for it, and I totally agree with that. But I also have a friend who just went through emergency open heart surgery a month ago, and she snapped a picture of her current hospital dues, what she's due for everything. Pause for effect. She has a $945,000 bill.
I'm not surprised.
That's basically a cool $1 million.
But let me tell you here.
Oh yeah. And I'm not attacking it. I'm just saying I don't understand it.
Well, right. So that's disgusting, first of all. But second of all, I just want to make sure that you and other people know such a tiny portion of that is actually going to doctors' salaries. I think that there is a thing in this country people don't kind of understand, especially residency, because I know by the way that some parents talk to me, they think you work, you're here at 3 a.m, but you must make such good money. Who gives a shit what you think, whatever. But no, residents, we make minimum wage. If you divide it up by the hours, we're making $14 an hour. And we are on call all the time. We work holidays, we work weekends, we work 24-hour shifts. So obviously that changes as an attending, but still you go through
it to get there.
Right.
Yeah.
And even then, such a small portion of that bill is actually for the doctors. It's the resources. But my point is that those things should not be as expensive as they are.
Right.
So
to your best guesstimation, let's round to 950. How much of that would actually be going to the doctors, do you think? 50, 20, 10?
I mean, I have no idea.
Okay.
I literally have no idea. But what I can tell you is that a single suture that for one stitch.
I think I've heard this.
In a surgery, it's $5 in itself. So however many stitches you're getting, all this stuff adds up. One dose of Tylenol, IV Tylenol, is I think $60 or something. So if you're getting around the clock Tylenol, that's every 6 hours for however that's just, this stuff adds up.
Is that ridiculously marked up, or is there a reason why Tylenol through an IV is more expensive? Is there a good reason why it's more expensive, or is it just you're not going to get it anywhere else? Every hospital is going to charge this, and so we can charge this?
I mean, I have to assume that it's something in the formulation that costs more to make. These are at least the things that I tell myself, because
this is what you're doing.
You have to justify it, but so that's the other thing is we don't think about money when we're doing things. I don't care about the money when I'm taking care of a patient. Like, I'm going to do what the patient needs. The only time it actually really becomes a problem for me is when I'm trying to discharge them and get medication for them, because that's when, if insurance is not going to cover it, I have to make sure that the family can pay for it. And the problem is like, when they can, which a lot of our population can't, then you have to give them a medication that maybe is subpar, or you have to kind of rethink. And it's unfortunate that we have to practice medicine based on the price. That we have to possibly do things that aren't the best for our or not as good for our patient just because of the price.
Right.
Has
there been any, I remember hearing about Mark Cuban, the guy created I forget what the website name is, the pharmacy website.
GoodRx. Well, I don't know if that's the one he made, but that is one.
I think that actually is. That does sound familiar. Has that had any kind of positive impact on these sorts of like obstacles that you've been facing?
For sure. I think for the easier or the more simple medications, 100%. You still get into problems with the prior authorization ones because those are like specialized medications. So, for example, a simple blood pressure medication that like probably every or most adults are on, which is like, I don't know, maybe like $1 a pill. I'm making this up. But the kid, again, can't take the pill version and needs it in liquid form. And this part I just don't understand. I don't understand how the liquid form is like liquid gold, but that apparently makes it so expensive that no one will pay for it. And you literally need to like sit on the phone for like hours and like argue with someone and explain to them why the kid needs it. It's like really absurd.
That's ridiculous.
And here's the thing is, it sucks for me. It's definitely not my favorite thing to do, but like I'll do it, whatever. Why it sucks is because there's only so many hours in a day. So now you've taken up like an hour of my time that I could have been spent at the patient's bedside, speaking to the parents, like doing other things. But now, and so this is like that allotment of resources I was talking about. Like now I only have half hour to go and spend and talk to patients and their families as the senior. And so I'm going to spend that on the 2 sickest patients, and I'm going to spend so that they can each have 15 minutes. But that means that all the other patients, like, they really just have the intern going and speaking with them. And not that they're not great too. They're great. They're great. But like, otherwise I'm not really going to see people unless like someone calls me and says like, we need you, there's an emergency, and that's just not fair to the patient. Everyone should get the attention but there's just not enough hours in the day. So.
How do you do it? This sounds like not like a lot of fun. That's a heavy question. You don't need to answer that one. It's just like, it's.
No, I mean, it's a fair, like, definitely some days are better. Yes.
Fantastic.
Some days are definitely, well, no. So because of how tired I am, I take I'm just going to wear them whenever I want. You know, it's pajamas. It's fine. But yeah, so some days are definitely better than others. There are days where I leave and I'm like, I need to go get a lychee martini.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
But really what makes it worth it is then when you do have patients who were really, really sick and you get them better and, their family thanks you. And like, it actually like brings tears to your eyes. You're literally just like, you well up and you're like, oh my God, this actually helped somebody. Like all this stupid work that I did for the last, 3 weeks straight, like helped somebody. So that makes it worth it. But yeah, you do your best to deal with all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of like being on the phone and dealing with insurance, I've got a fun story. Not me, but when I was working, I don't know if I ever told you I worked at, and I'll name them because I don't care. I worked at Del Frisco's, the steakhouse right in Midtown.
Okay.
And we got bought by Landry's while I was working there. Landry's is owned by Tillman Fertitta, I believe, who owns a bunch of Las Vegas hotels and casinos. He owns an NBA team, yachts or cruise lines or whatever. He's a billionaire on par with like your Bill Gates, your Bezos, but like no one talks about him as much. And he bought Del Frisco's. We walked out one night, it was Del Frisco's. We walked in the next day, it was Landry's, like just like that. And with that, we lost our 401k. We lost our 2 weeks paid vacation, which, we're waiters and bartenders. We worked on tips. So how paid vacation used to work was, let's say I'm one of the really good servers and I'm clearing.
You wouldn't be, but that's fine.
I need a moment to process that. Where did we meet again? I think let's say I made $2,500 on average every week. My paid vacation, they would pay me $2,500 because that's what I was making. And then let's say someone else is there making $1,200, and they went on vacation, they would get $1,200. So you continued to make what you made.
That's nice. And
it was very nice. We lost that, and then we lost our health insurance. We had a guy who was a bartender who was on epilepsy medication, and he was having trouble getting his epilepsy medication after the Landry's buyout, like 3-4 days later, because Landry's hadn't taken him off of Del Frisco's health insurance yet, but they put him on the Landry's health insurance. So I'm sure, as you know, being on 2 health insurances is fraud, and they didn't think he was trying to defraud anyone, but they were like, you got to figure it out. You got to do something before we can fulfill this prescription. And I'll never forget the way he told the story. He called Landry's headquarters. And he's like, hey, this is the situation. I need you to get me off of the old health insurance and onto the new health insurance. And the woman on the phone was like, well, these things take time. We have, this, that, and the other going on with the takeover. And it's not, it's on the list, but we might not get to it for, a week or 2 weeks. And he said, and I quote, I need my epilepsy medication. And if I'm unable to get it and I end up having a stroke, I'm going to sue the fucking shit out of you. And he was on the phone. So he made the face that he thinks that this woman made, but it was very, hold please. And then she came back 90 seconds later and was like, you're off the old health insurance. You should be okay now. Okay, have a good day.
Yeah.
My point is, I love that story, and I'll tell it every chance I get, even though it's not even mine. That took 90 seconds with the right kind of pressure. It's frustrating for me to think that these hour or 2 hours kind of conversations don't need to be that long.
Well, I will tell you, because you know me, and it's the Italian Jersey in me, but
what?
I say something along the lines of what your friend had said, basically as aggressively that I can be while not getting fired.
Right.
And that ends the conversation, but I don't want to be that person. I don't want to have to be that person every day, No,
it's not fun being that person every day, because then you're that person.
Right.
And you need to have that in you. You need to be able to be that person. But like it should be like a sword that's in the sheath.
Yeah.
99% of the time. But it's right there, and you've got your hand on it if you need it. But you don't, because then you're just Jersey Italian all the time, and you don't want to be Jersey Italian all the time.
But like, it also the mental environment gets you to a point where you're just so agitated. Agita is like my favorite word, but you end up being so agitated that like you jump to that and you get very aggressive, and it's like at the end of the day you're fighting for your patients, so like whatever they're worth it. But still, it's like you don't know what kind of day the person on the other end of the line is having. You know what I mean? And it's like just the world shouldn't be this way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my dad was talking about a different situation, talking about like the legal system and how there are just all of these different people at different levels, and they're not communicating with each other. And you're mad at this person, but you're talking to this person, and you can yell at them all you want, but they don't know why you're mad at this person. They're not in communication with each other. So all you're doing is just that person just woke up and went to work that day.
It's a chain of screaming.
Exactly. It's the chain of screaming.
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother?
Yes. I love, this is why we're friends.
I love it. The chain of screaming turns into the circle of screaming. I love it so much.
So I will tell you what I did at work is, so this is embarrassing. There's a function on our electronic health record where you can put like an icon, like a picture. And so I usually like take pictures of my patients so that way when you're looking at the chart, it's a little patient, you can see who it is. Because everyone has very similar names. You can also do it as a staff member, but really no one has it. Like one or two people have it. What I ended up doing was, because I was tired of like all the surgery residents who I'm sure they are lovely people, but they are some of the most overworked people. So they are always very agitated.
Which is not what you want out of the person who's cutting you open.
Yeah, like you really want them to sleep more than like 3 hours. But
oh, please tell me that's not real.
But so what I did was I put my picture as the little icon, and I won't lie to you, people have been significantly nicer to me, and I'm sure that's just because when there's a face to the name, it's like a real person. It's not just a blank whatever. But I don't know. It also could be that they see like a girl and they're just like being nicer.
Well, you have a very girl's name, so I would like to think, unless there are a lot of guy pages walking around.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, people mess the name up a lot, so it's not as common as you would think. I don't have it figured out.
Yeah, but you're getting there. You're still learning. You've got it more figured out than I do.
Yeah, but I mean, like as a person, I'm not figured out. You know.
You don't have time. You're getting called in on sick call when you shouldn't be.
You're not wrong, but
yeah. See, I'm paying attention. You also do a lot of overnights and long. I don't envy your schedule.
That's coming from someone who bartends.
Yeah, I don't envy my schedule either, but it's not, at least when you do overnights, what does that go until 6 a.m., 8 a.m.?
So this is different at every hospital. Like where I went to medical school, you came in at 6:30 and then stayed till like 7. So it was like more, like your night shifts were longer than the day shifts, but that's okay because theoretically you shouldn't have to do a lot at night.
Right. Theoretically.
Have
you had bad nights that are like, okay, it's a stupid question.
Yeah, was that face enough? Here's the thing.
Have I had bad nights?
We are there in case that and I'm talking about the floor, which is not the ICU. Like I'm talking about kids who are stable. Like we are there at night for an emergency to take, but you should really only be there to take care of emergencies. There shouldn't be any daytime like bullshit that you have to take care of.
You're not running tests. You're not
that aren't emergent.
There's no families visit. Everyone's asleep in theory.
Right.
Or at home.
Right. I just think that and I think this is also just a product of like New York City's not having resources. Like it takes so long to get things done during the day that a lot of it just spills over to night. And so you end up doing those kind of daytime tasks overnight, which, it's hard. Like, I think, before I did these shifts, I used to think like, what's the big deal? You just switch your schedule. You sleep overnight and then you sleep during the day and then you work overnight. Like, what's the big deal? But like, you don't realize, first of all, your body just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And then second of all, you are missing your entire life and everyone that you love. Mm-hmm. So, and my parents who are both doctors and should know this and went through this, they'll call me at like 2 p.m, knowing well that and good that that's like 2 a.m. to me.
Yeah.
And be like, why didn't you answer my text and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you kidding? And I remember my first week of overnights as a resident. It was in July of whatever the first year was. And I got into a car accident actually leaving my last shift of it because I clearly was too tired. And so my dad, who was a saint, drove to the city, switched out my car with my sister so that he could take the car back and have it fixed because I still had to go to a night shift that night. Yeah, he's the best. But so I woke up at around 2 p.m. again, and I come out to see him, and he looks at me and he goes, "You look like shit." And I'm like, which is just like not what I need to hear.
Parents.
Right, and
they're not going to sugarcoat it.
I go, thanks. I throw my keys at him and I went back to my apartment to sleep,
Yeah. At least he's proud of why you look like shit. I mean, you look like shit because you're a doctor.
You're supposed to say you're beautiful and you don't look like shit, but
I didn't see you that day.
Just say you could never look that bad.
I have never seen you look less than radiant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm going to tell the story of how we met because might as well. So
I remember that
Well, and then you can tell your version, or what? I guess you could tell yours first because yours probably is more without backstory.
Yeah, that's as good as the first one too.
Good job.
Thank you. That was faster too. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I need people to come on," and I was like, "I don't know if anyone will be interested, but I'll come."
Absolutely. Well, so I'll tell the story of how we met, but real quick, I think I explained to you a little bit. I actually think this is better than the first round.
Oh, I don't know if I could detect subtle differences.
It's a little bit lychee forward for me, which is actually surprising me because I don't like lychee all that much.
What do you mean lychee? What does that mean?
Lychee?
No, lychee forward.
So it's vodka, lemon, and lychee. And I'm tasting more lychee than I am lemon or vodka.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So we met. No, that wasn't what. No, having you on. So clearly I'm a little drunk too.
He just learned his words.
I just learned my words. I love the idea of having you on because so far it's been mostly entertainment people and a couple fitness people. But those fitness people are also entertainment people. I had on a dancer who works at Equinox. I had on a guy who has a different podcast who works at Equinox. And I felt like I was kind of pigeonholing myself a little bit because I didn't want this to be a entertainment or actor or influencer type podcast. I want to have everyone on. I want to have on people in the medical field. I want to have on people who I know, like I go to the gym and I run a podcast.
You had to put that in there.
Had to throw that in there. If you can't tell, I know a lot about those worlds already. I never went to medical school. I've never worked in a hospital. This is a completely new thing for me to learn about. And we've talked a little bit about it over the last year and a half that we've known each other. But this is kind of why I started doing this, to learn from people like you who can teach me 100% stuff that I don't know. So thank you for coming on. Yeah.
So what you're saying is I'm diversifying this.
You are, in a big way, diversifying this.
Which is hilarious.
I am another straight white guy with a podcast. Do you think that I'm diversifying anything? No. We're having a good time. So the story of how we met. I was working at a bar that I am no longer welcome in. Did you hear that story?
Oh, I did not know, actually.
Yeah.
Every time I went there, I would be like, I was just in working.
So I'll name names because I don't care. There's a pattern. I worked at the Happiest Hour down in the West Village as one of their head bartenders. And real quick, I'm no longer welcome there because the GM is petty and took it personally that I quit.
No, I'm not going to be able to go there.
No, you'll be fine. She's not going to listen to this. I have her blocked on all my social media.
Okay, good. I like that part.
We met. It was, I forget your friend's name, whose birthday it
Drew.
was. Drew's birthday. And some 25-ish hospital people, mostly doctors.
No,
Just
they're finance people. They were all her friends. See, this is why he went first, because it's all wrong.
Oh, wait, no, because you came in like a couple months later with all the doctors.
No, they were not doctors, but it's fine. I'll explain after.
I was just making the drinks. Well, for Drew's birthday.
He was so hypnotized by how I looked, he doesn't remember. What did you say?
I didn't
Well,
say
you
anything.
can get there when you get there.
We get there. So it was a Saturday. It was during the day. He came in for Drew's birthday, right? The day we met?
It was a weekday, and it was like 6 p.m.
No.
Yeah, it was a weekday because we only go to Happiest. I've been doing this for her birthday for 4 years. It's a weeknight. We go to Happiest, and then we do something else on the weekend.
I could have sworn it was like a Saturday day shift.
He clearly never cared about me.
The sun was up.
Right, because it was a day shift, but it's April, so It's
We
like,
open at 5.
yeah, it was like I showed up at 5. I was very, very early, but I showed up at 5.
Okay.
And then more people, yeah, so it was still light out. But I'll get there, but it was dark out.
Okay, let's just hear your version because
Yeah, 'cause
there's not a thing I've gotten correct
I
so
think
far.
you're describing some
You
other
were
girl you
wearing
met.
a purple top.
It was pink, but I think no. But men don't understand colors, so I actually think that I actually think that you.
I said it so confidently.
No, I think that to you it probably was purple, but
It looked like a if I have to be colored, like a lavender or like a periwinkle.
right. So you're just a man is the problem. It was a
Problem.
it was a blush colored top, which is a very light shade of pink.
Okay.
So to your eyes could have easily been a light blue or light purple. But so anyways, my best friend in the world. It's a proven fact that men don't see colors the way women do.
I believe that.
Oh, it is.
It's
like a real thing. Yeah.
100%.
But so my best friend since I was 12, her name is Drew. She's really hot, everybody listening.
I'm checking all the cameras.
But anyway, so she works in finance, and we have this tradition of her birthday. Since we've lived in the city, we go to Happiest Hour with a bunch of people she works with. So I, at the time, was living, I forget if I was still in Jersey in medical school. No, I must have been a first-year resident. So I was uptown. So I came way too early. So I'm sitting there at the bar by myself, like just kind of drinking, waiting. And this is not when I met you. I met one of your coworkers, actually. But regardless. Night goes on, whatever. So I'm like pretty drunk at this point, but he's bartending, and I see, well, first of all, I saw that he was cute. But then I saw his tattoo, and like, you can't just be the drunk girl at the bar that just hits on the bartender, because that's like basically what happens every day, I'm sure. You got to like have something special about you, you know?
Not as often as you'd think, but keep going.
So I pointed at his tattoo. I like screamed across the bar, and I pointed at his tattoo, and I was like, "Oh, that's like the Deathly Hallows or something. Like, it's something Harry Potter." And the funny part of this is that like I love Harry Potter as much as the next person born my year, you know, like, but I'm not like one of those people that are obsessed enough to get a tattoo about it. So
there's a compliment in there somewhere. I'm gonna have to go back and really dig deep for it.
But I recognize it, so I used that as my in. And then I just kind of like, I don't know, I just kind of yelled at you and flirted at you, whatever. But you seemed receptive, so it was fine. So that's my side of the story.
I swear it was a weekend, but I am open and willing to accept that I was wrong. It was a good day though, because we chatted, and then we chatted downstairs while you were waiting in line for the restroom.
Oh yeah, I do remember. I don't remember what was said, but I do remember that.
So it would have, if it was a weekday, it would have needed to be a Thursday or Friday.
It was probably a Thursday.
Okay.
We can actually look up what day April 19th was that year.
Oh my God.
I'm going to guess Thursday.
You don't have to ask me twice.
I'm going to prove him wrong.
April 19th.
It was last year, right? Time has no meaning anymore. I think it was last year.
Yeah, ever since lockdown, like everything is,
I know.
like whatever you thought it was 5 years more. The 19th?
I think it was yes, the 19th. I think it was last year.
Says it's a Wednesday.
So I was close. I told you it was a weekday. It was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was going to say Wednesday or Thursday. He said Thursday or Friday. So I met him halfway.
So you met Maori.
I'm pulling a U, and I am mixing her birthday the year prior to, because I remember I was wearing black when I met that bartender. So you would not know who the bartender I met was, but it was this beautiful bald-headed man. No, not him.
Oh, then you went before any of us worked there.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Well, I've been going there for years. We've been doing Drew's birthday. That's why when you said like blah, 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 whatever it is.
So weekend then. Possibly Saturday.
Never a weekend.
You've never been there on a weekend.
I have quite literally never been there on a weekend. I work on the weekends. You know this.
Sometimes you have one weekend day off. Occasionally.
Right. You're right.
I have one really good question that I preemptively sent you that I really want to hear the answer for. Mm-hmm. And then I have one bonus question that I didn't send you. That I didn't send you. That's just a silly question. You don't need to worry about it or stress about it. The one you know about. Your best moment. Sorry, I faced away. Your best moment in medicine.
So this was actually a hard one because there's many. I told you earlier that like whenever someone like you kind of help a kid get better and their parent thanks you, you sort of well up, and that's all true. But one of the moments that made me realize I wanted to go into hemonc was
Hematology.
hematology oncology. Yes.
Got it. So just for my own sake, you said hematology and oncology earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Is that blood cancer, or are those two together?
That's a great question. So the specialty is called hemonc. It's because for kids, a lot of, well, and I guess adults as well, because it's the same specialty for them. But a lot of cancers have to do with the blood, or are what we call hematologic cancers that come from the blood. That's like lymphoma, leukemia. So that's the thing that kind of unifies it. And then you have things on both ends. You have solid tumors, and then you have your anemias or other, blood problems. So it's all sort of and then a little bit of like immunology gets kind of thrown in there. It's just a fascinating field,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
A lot of puzzles to be solved.
Yes.
Cool.
But now I forgot what we were talking about.
Best moment in
best
medicine.
moment. Thank you. So, as a fourth year medical student, and this was during COVID, by the way, so I just want to say, my year of med students, we started our clinical years. Your first 2 years of med school are completely like studying, getting lectures, like learning, taking tests, that type of thing. You have very few real like medical things with patients. Then you take a board exam, and then you actually start your rotations that are called your clinical rotations with patients, and you learn from the residents and whatnot. Well, our clinical rotations they were supposed to start in June of 2020. So they started in July of 2020.
Yep.
Which we all know, like, even though it wasn't the height of COVID, it was not a great situation. So
what was considered the height? Was it like August, September? Because I know we went in lockdown in March.
Right.
And then everything kind of quelled, and then it spiked when everyone felt safe.
Yeah.
And
so that's a good question. So I at least personally consider it March, late March, April, May, that kind of period.
2020.
Of 2020, yes.
Okay.
That's when everyone was like hunkered down and whatever. And to be honest with you, I don't know what would have been the medical student situation, because for us, we happen to have been already on what's called a dedicated study period. Like our first round of board exams was I think it was supposed to be in either May or June. So we already had like a month of studying where you don't have to go into the hospital, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we already were kind of like protected from that. They did give us an additional month after that to minimize exposures and whatnot. But so when I started, it was July 1st or something of 2020. And I remember, I actually tell this to my attendings when they say, oh, residents who come from your medical school are really great. I actually tell them the story. I say, my first day of clinical rotations, I showed up and I actually was in the psych emergency room at my medical school. And things were so bad there. I was going to say things were so crazy, but you can't say, you don't want to say that with psych. Cause
right.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I have such short legs that when I stretch, I kick his stand.
No, your legs are so short that they keep bumping the thing that's far away from you.
Because people with long legs would just not stretch and hit that. Sorry.
No,
We've gotten
it's fine.
so off topic from how we started the story.
It's fine. You want the camera to move off of me so that there's just the three on you. I get it.
Yes, I want all the attention, obviously.
Obviously.
But yeah, so my first day as a clinician was showed up, and they said, go see these 3 patients, come back, write a note, and then tell me about them. And it was see the patient, get the story, write the note, and it was do everything, almost like what an intern does now,
Real quick, write the note. Mm-hmm. Does note mean something specific? Like if a doctor asks you for a note, are they asking?
Oh, not that kind of note. Every patient that gets admitted needs a note every single day.
And what does that mean? They need a
like
note.
a note in their chart. So it's like kind of long, but it's like you say why the patient's there, like you tell the history, like what's going on, like blah blah, blah whatever. You give a physical exam and you record it, and then you give an assessment and plan, which says like this patient is here for this. I think they have this, and this is what we're gonna do about it.
Okay.
And right, so.
Okay, so go get the note for the 3 patients.
Right. So essentially, I was being thrown into the deep end of the pool. And then to add on to it, like we're in the psych ED during COVID, which, you know, a lot of people were not doing well. I don't think anyone was doing well.
We were all struggling.
Right. Exactly. Like I think, yeah. But that experience, I think kind of prepared me. Again, I forgot how we got on this topic.
Best moment in medicine.
Wow. I got really off topic.
You mean your first day, July 1st, 2020, in the middle of lockdown?
Was not my best moment.
Was not your best moment in medicine?
No. Okay, sorry. So back. Oh, now I know why we got here. So, during COVID, they changed some of the rules and regulations for medical students, and you were not able to go do away rotation. You could do one away rotation, which is a rotation at another hospital other than your own. And when you're applying to something like surgery or orthopedics or something where you have to kind of prove a hands-on skill, these away rotations are kind of like your lifeline. But with something like medicine or pediatrics, which essentially pediatrics is medicine, but just with tiny humans, or not such tiny humans because I have adults sometimes.
Up to 35, which is older than me. Usually
it's 21, but yes, we do have 35-year-olds. You can't distract me because then I get confused.
Sorry, best moment in medicine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At least that like brings me back. So they finally, by the time that I was a 4th year, they said, okay, we'll bring back away rotations. You can do 1. And our advisors told us do not do any, like if you're not going to a surgery thing, like you're just going to blacklist yourself. You're going to say, oh, I want to go to this program and no one will take you. All right. But I luckily had my parents to advise me and they said, okay, do the rotation you want. So I went to a large academic center in New York City, whose name I will not mention. But they're great. And
Manhattan or like
it was in Manhattan. There's still a lot of
northern Manhattan.
That I will not say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But so and the thing was I couldn't choose which specialty to do because you can choose a rotation in any of the specialties. So I essentially randomly picked HEMONC because I was like, well, if I don't learn anything else, I'll learn how to really interpret a CBC well, which is like the standard blood test that you get on a lot of patients. So I'm like, if nothing else, I'll learn how to interpret this. So that's kind of, I ended up in HEMONC like kind of randomly and stupidly. But anyways, I go there, I do this rotation, and there was this little patient who came in, and he was like under 2 years old, like, 18 months or something, a year and a half, something, and had neuroblastoma, which is like a pediatric cancer. And he had all of the telltale signs that you learn about in the textbook. He had like bruised eyes, a big abdomen because he had a tumor there, all these things. Very sick, like very scary situation. And they started chemotherapy, and like within a week or so, like enough time that I was still in the rotation, which was a month long. With the chemotherapy, this kid, the bruises around his eyes were gone. He was not able to walk. He had a limp because I think he had some like metastasis in the bone, and he was like too sore. He was running around his room, putting his little stethoscope, like from his little duck doctor thing that he got, like stuffed animal. He would like listen to my heart, all these things. So that situation always stuck with me, with how quickly and resilient these kids are. So yeah, and I think because that's kind of why I chose where I want to go, I think that that's a pretty significant,
Yeah, that sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it was great.
Like a week, like 6, 7, 8 days later, and he's just almost. And was he in remission that fast, or was remission a couple days later, or
no? I mean, remission has a specific definition in a lot of cancers, but and I don't know off the top of my head what it is for neuroblastoma, but it's definitely a lot. He definitely needed a lot more cycles of chemotherapy.
Right.
But I think it was just because he had such classic signs of the disease that you learn about in medical school and are like the answers on tests.
That affected his general well-being and
exactly
and enjoy life.
Well, and also there's signs of like severe disease, and that's why it's scary. But yeah, like he, within those few days or week or whatever it was, I don't remember at this point, but was a whole different boy. And, you know, I don't work at that hospital where I did that rotation, so I don't know what happened to him, but I do hope that he did well.
It seemed like he was on the right path.
Right, at least in the immediate, you know, he did very well. So
good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good best moment in medicine, I think.
It took a while for us to get there, but you gave me alcohol. It's not my fault.
You know what? I edit these myself now.
Good.
I'll just cut around it.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Bonus question.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm nervous. Such excited.
No. It's so silly. It's so silly.
Okay. I like silly.
There are so many medical-based TV shows.
Sorry, I just inhaled your drink.
Your drink.
I mean the drink that you made.
You don't get any more. This is all
that you made me. No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for this question because I already like where it's going.
All right. Well, it's two-part.
Okay.
What's your favorite, and what do you think is the most accurate?
Oh man, I'm so excited by this question. Okay.
I think I might have an idea based on earlier conversation as to what your favorite might be.
Oh, so tell me.
Well, you said you enjoy solving puzzles, so I think you might really enjoy House. I think you might, because so when you were telling me, so I just rewatched House recently, so it's obviously very fresh on my mind.
Yeah.
And that is kind of why I asked the question that I did about, you know, do you enjoy solving the puzzles to give the answers to them, to like ease them, the family, the parents, or do you need to solve it more for you? Because, you know, Hugh Laurie's House.
I love Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, he's so great. But he also, his character, House, doesn't care about the family's emotions.
Yeah, he's an ass.
He wants to solve the problem.
Right.
And solving the problem 99 times out of 100 means everyone's going to walk out happy and healthy.
Right, because his solving the problem actually treats the patient in 9 cases out of 10.
Yes.
So I did mean that.
Yes. Okay, so am I correct in saying that that is your favorite of the medical shows that are out there right now?
So had you asked me before I started residency, I would have said 1,000% yes.
Mm-hmm. So, is it a little unrealistic?
So
like diagnostics department.
Right. So that's the problem is that, so it's super fun as a med student because all of these weird, rare diseases that you learn about that are the answer to a test question is what the show is based on. So.
And 99% of people that come in have the same thing.
Huh?
I'm guessing. Sorry, keep going. I'm listening.
No. I mean like the weird, like there's one episode where it's like a pigeon and wow, it's back because I don't remember, but he ends up with some sort of weird like brain eating disease, whatever.
The pigeons were
pooping in the
defecating
water.
in the water that was watering the marijuana that
and Omar Epps was drinking.
Yep,
right.
Yep,
yeah. I haven't rewatched since med school, so I forgot the names of characters. What's his name again? He's the neurologist.
No, I know. Hold on. I'll get there.
Chase is the Australian.
Chase is the Australian. Cuddy is the
obviously
head of medicine.
This is so bad. I'm having such brain farts.
Bad.
My sister she is in love with the girl that plays the blonde.
Foreman,
you're right.
Yep.
Yes. My sister's in love with the blonde who plays the allergist and immunologist. She's the one that marries Chase.
Oh, yeah.
So she named her car after her character in a different show, but regardless. So
the Disney show?
When you see the one that's like a bunch of princesses and whatever.
On the CW where they're like the
fairy tale characters.
The offshoot
of Lost.
Yeah,
I just said Lost. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Yes.
That one. Yeah,
yes.
because she was
Emma.
I didn't watch it.
It's actually pretty good. I didn't get that far, but it's pretty good actually.
I think I heard that the first 2 or 3 seasons were really great, but it was like Lost. That just, it kind of kept going longer than it should have. But I might be wrong.
Okay, first of all, I can't believe you're saying that about Lost.
No,
because
here's the thing. People said it about Lost. I love Lost.
I love Lost. That's
I
one
love
of my
Lost. 6 seasons was not enough. It was enough, but it was also not enough because I loved it.
You know what I could talk about with you for hours is TV shows because that is my thing. But anyway, so yes, I love House because it actually pulls these sort of crazy situations that you only see once in a lifetime because they're weird diagnoses. The thing is, when you practice at a hospital that is a major academic center in a crazy city like this, you see that stuff. So actually, like I've made, well, not me personally, but the team has made a lot of diagnoses that are like weird, crazy things for him. But what kills me about that show is like that every doctor is a diagnostician, you know, and it just takes the right ones to kind of parse the puzzle apart. I hate myself for saying this, thinking of young medical school Paige, but Grey's Anatomy is no, and I'm gonna explain to you. So I will tell you, my little sister, my mother, used to watch Grey's Anatomy, and I was sitting there on the couch, and I just caught a glimpse. They were watching the episode where McDreamy dies. Sorry, I just ruined it.
What?
Yeah, sorry. It's like season 10, all right? Or I think it's 11.
Doesn't he die like fully aware that he's dying?
Yeah, which is a little fucked up.
I think I actually saw that episode.
It's scary.
But also, I think I heard a rumor, and this is where me being in the entertainment side of it, even though it's not like exclusive information or anything, that Patrick Dempsey and Shonda Rhimes had a tiff of some sort, and so she wrote him out.
So,
but I also heard that she had a tiff with most people on that show and wrote them out. And I don't know. I mean, they made it a little bit more believable with Patrick Dempsey. It was like, oh, he's been on the show for 10 years. He thinks he's too big to fail. He thinks he's too big to get written off. And then she's like, nope. And like, oh, I believe that. But like also,
you know, I just like to think that actors have other opportunities because no one can be the same character for 20 years. So I just like to think that.
Meredith Grey.
Okay. Well, you know what? I love Meredith Grey, so I'm not going to, you know, and actually
Girls making over $1 million an episode. There's no judgment there.
Yeah.
If I were ever making over $1 million for
I don't care what I was doing.
I don't care.
I don't care what I was doing.
And people can be like, oh, he'll never play anything except John Gray. Let's go with an exact comparison. Doctor on Grey's Anatomy. Like, oh, he'll never play anything else. It's like, yeah, dude. They're paying me $2 million an episode. Do it.
You look a little bit like DeLuca.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, he was like one of the heartthrob residents, like in the newer season. Like I am such a fan.
Spelled the way that I'm gonna think it is, DeLuca.
Yes, it is. But so I will tell you. So
DeLuca Grays. It's the first thing that pops up.
What do you think?
It took me back to the Cheers poster search because I have everything on pause. Hold on. DeLuca Grey's Anatomy. I've gotten this before. Working at Happiest. Someone showed me a picture of this. You look like the guy from Grey's Anatomy, and I just assumed it was McSteamy, not McDreamy, because I like the other guy better. I like his facial structure better.
You and your big blue eyes.
They're very brown. 4K camera.
I'm sorry, I'm going to steal your spotlight.
You have more McSteamy eyes than I do.
I call them Meredith Grey eyes, but it's fine.
Are they I don't know what color.
She has the bluest eyes. That's like her thing, yeah.
Is it her thing? Yeah. I thought her thing was making $2 million an episode.
Okay, well, anyways, I will tell you, because this is a true story. And my best friend, who's getting married next weekend, she's working right now, so I'm going to tell the story for her.
So the episode's going to come out after, like, we're 3 weeks out from when this actually airs.
I don't care. It's fine.
Cool.
So I've had how many really cheap martinis?
Really cheap? There's Tito's in there.
I love Tito's.
Yeah. But it's also not a bar. It's like a bottle. It's like $20 plus the things.
I mean, you never made me pay, but it's regardless.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder why.
Because I'm so entertaining, obviously. But so I had already watched some of Grey's Anatomy. I actually had stopped once McDreamy died because it hurt my heart. But when I started residency, literally that first month, I restarted Grey's. And it actually made me feel a lot better because, especially the first few seasons, it is what you experience as a doctor. Like, it's unbelievable.
Okay.
There's, in the very first episode, one of Meredith's patients has a seizure and there's an emergency, and the nurse goes the parents come in and they're like asking what's going on, and Meredith says something and she goes, and they go, well, are you the doctor? And she goes, well, I'm a doctor, I'm not her doctor, because she like, it's that first moment where you realize like you're in charge of someone's life and someone's looking at you for the answer. So I had that multiple times. But linking my friend back into this, so she's going into pediatric cardiology, which is Christina Yang does cardiology, not cardiac surgery. Yes, Sandra. She does cardiac surgery.
Love Sandra Oh.
So we always say like I'm the Meredith and she's the Christina, and it's because we really kind of the episodes are. While there are some inaccuracies, like, all right, I'll tell you the biggest fucking inaccuracy that really kills me. Shonda Rhimes.
Yep.
Now I forget what I was saying.
Your best friend. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. There's no way you would know what I was saying. Cardiology. Meredith Grey. Ashley. Oh, yeah, I remember.
Cool.
The inaccuracies.
Yes.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
So what gets me is that the premise of the whole show is that Meredith is a resident, McDreamy is a attending, and they're sleeping together.
He the head of some kind of department?
Neurosurgery. So here is the
small little thing.
Here is the inherent problem, is that there is no, like, this is not a situation that happens in real life, because there is a surgery residency, general surgery. There is a neurosurgery residency. There is an orthopedic surgery residency, #Callie Torres. All these things. So these are all separate residencies. Oh, plastic surgery, that is a separate residency, although you can get there from general, because Jackson, whatever. So
these are characters that you're just throwing out there, right?
Yeah, because I love this. I love this show.
I'm so sorry. I didn't make this clear before. I've never watched Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, you should
so
call me.
You're throwing out. I feel like Jackson and Callie. Mm-hmm. I feel like I knew you exist at the same time as a thing. You kind of know what it is, but I'm not catching some of these references.
Okay. So to generalize, my point is that Meredith, being a general surgery resident, would never have had, like, McDreamy would not have been her teacher, would not have been her attending, telling her what to do. He would have had an entirely different residency with his own residents. So that's the sort of unrealistic part.
Got it.
But what kills me is it's the premise of the show, is that, Meredith and McDreamy are.
Okay.
But other than that, phenomenal. Really expresses the residency, issues and whatnot. But people don't look like that in a hospital. I just want to put it out there.
No.
I wish they did.
No. By that you mean they don't look. To clarify, Grey's Anatomy is your favorite?
I would have to say that, yes.
And which one do you think is the most accurate?
I will actually, I do think that is the most accurate. The only inaccuracy is that thing about the residencies where they have the people that are not your actual.
That's such a small thing too.
Well, okay, sorry. There is another one that a lot of their patients are not actually surgery patients, because in real life, surgery will only take patients if you fight them. Like,
what?
it's a real thing. Like all services kind of have an argument. They're like, if there's any sort of condition that is not in their field, then the general, either medicine or pediatrics, has to take them. So like that's a common kind of argument that we all laugh about as well on a lot of memes and stuff. But do you know like Glaucom Flacken or whatever? You probably don't follow him, or Dr. Glaucom Flacken.
Maybe. I don't know. I would need to see a face, and since we gave you faces earlier, I will look up faces now.
Because he's great.
Do you have a spelling on that?
Of Glaucom Flack? Okay.
Glaucom Flacken? Glaucom Flacken?
I'm going to have to look it up.
Glock anatomy?
No. Dr. Glaucom.
Oh, that's just gun anatomy.
The problem is that I don't even know what his actual like Instagram handle is, so I have to find it. Oh, I got it. Okay, it's Doc. Like his Instagram handle is Doc, and then Glauc.
Like glaucoma.
Yeah, he's an ophthalmologist.
Well, yeah, okay.
He's hilarious.
Okay, I'm looking at him, and I don't think I've ever seen him before.
Okay, so it makes me reassured that these are just kind of things going through medical. I will say Instagram is pretty good about like targeting you to things in your sphere. Wait, what is your ethnicity? Like, what are you, or where are you from, rather?
I'm German, Irish, Polish, Hungarian.
So you're white. I am too. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty white. Yeah. Italian. That's all I've got. New Jersey Italian.
So I'm half Sicilian. To specify you're Italian.
So half not white.
No. Still white. Well, so my father always has French, but like there was so much turmoil in Europe at the time. My last name is actually like Eastern European. So I wouldn't, and also this is really why I started questioning my heritage, was I have a close friend from my medical school who has the same last name and is like 1,000% Polish.
Same last name as you?
Yeah, which is rare, right? It's a rare name. I do get Mila Kunis sometimes.
I can see that.
In a dark bar, gets yelled.
I can see that.
I wish, but
I can totally see that. I don't know. I've never... This is going to sound so weird and lame of me, but I've never looked at you and thought of different people. Like I've never tried to look at you and be like, oh, she looks like this. She looks like this person, this celebrity, this character.
I don't quite know how to take that, but
No. This is 83 minutes. We can stop it right here.
Oh wow.
On this very awkward note that I'm
No,
gonna
we should
definitely
end it on a good note.
Let's end it on a good note.
Let's end it on a good note.
Let's end it on a good note.
Yeah.
My favorite medical show. I was actually gonna bring this up. This is actually
let
not
me hear.
what. Yeah. And I don't know if you've watched. My favorite.
You're gonna say Scrubs or something.
I am gonna say Scrubs.
Wow, I knew
fucking love Scrubs, and I stand by it because a few of the things that you said, your legs are so short.
I'm a short person. What do you want from me?
A few of the things that you said tonight, like, you are on these insurance calls and then, you only have a short amount of time and you have to give them to the certain patients. There's an episode of Scrubs that deals with that. And I think I read an article a little while ago. And by a little while ago, I mean maybe 15 years ago, because I'm old and I've read articles 15 years ago. Someone once said that Scrubs is one of the more medically accurate. Not one of the most.
It is pretty accurate. I won't lie.
Is it?
So it's hard. The last time I watched, I only watched it once because it was not one of those shows that compelled me to watch it multiple times. But I watched it because the guy I was dating in medical school, which was one of my classmates, That was his favorite show. So I watched it to what?
And in the show, the classmates date each other. That's all. Keep going.
But they're as residents. So the problem is like pediatrics is like 90, I don't know what the actual percentage is, but it's mostly women. Also very family oriented. So even the men that are in the class, most people are married. I will say there are 28 people in my class and there are 3 single girls.
Are you one of them?
I am one of them. And I'm like, what is so, you get to yourself, you're like, what is so wrong with me that I'm the single one? But then it's like, you have to ground yourself and you're like, no, I just work a lot,
You're a fucking short legs. You're a doctor. You work 18-hour days. 18-hour days?
No, that's a
12
lot.
hours?
That's a lot.
That's a long day. I've heard you work very long days, and you work overnights, and then you sleep during the day, and then you go on a run, and then
You know me.
you go on a run, and then you're like on your way into work. I remember, maybe too much. I remember I was trying to be like, hey, when are you free? And you're like, I'm not free.
At least I'm honest.
Very honest. No, it was very honest. I was like, hey, do you have this day free? And you're like, I don't have any days this week free. And I was like, all right, I'll just try again next week. And you're like, I don't have any days this week free either. And I was like, I'm going to try next week. And then you didn't have it. Like, you don't have
I appreciate
any days.
the determination
I
and persistence.
give it a solid effort. There were, but like you, and I believed you. I didn't think that you were like,
lying.
yeah, no, you weren't lying. You were a fucking doctor. You didn't have any spare time. It's not easy.
No.
Yeah.
So I think, a lot of people go into residency and or at least in pediatrics, I don't know about other things, but they have someone, a lot of our residents are pregnant and are having babies and yay, all these things. But
Babies are cute though.
Yeah.
I worked today. I had a 8-hour shift at the restaurant and there was a little,
8 hours.
Yeah.
That's a slow day.
Yeah. And then we're lucky I got out. Otherwise this wouldn't have happened. Because they were like, hey, can you work until 9? And I was like, no, I've got something else.
We had a date.
This is a date?
Glad your cat didn't get in the way.
This is a date? Did you say date? Oh my God, can I turn the air filter on higher?
You can have my last sip if you want. But can you pour me one of the lychees though? Or do they not come out of that top? Why? So I've noticed that. Why can these lychees not be used?
They were the infusion lychees.
I can just grab it.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
They were the infusion lychees. The vodka and those lychees soaked for a while, so I think the flavor came all out. These are fresh. They didn't soak in anything.
They're delicious.
I'm glad you like. I actually have never. Let's do something. I've never eaten a lychee.
You've never had one?
No,
but you ate the one that was in your glass, no? Before
I didn't put one in my glass.
With the
Nope.
this?
Nope. There's.
Well, I know there isn't now, but I thought there was earlier.
No, just you. No, because I speared one and I didn't like how it speared, so I got rid of it and I speared you as a second one.
I was wondering why I was the only one who was having trouble drinking it.
Because I don't like lychee. But
it's So I never liked it when I was eating Chinese food, but I think you'll like it.
What?
It's fun, right? I never liked it then because it was too sweet, but it masks the alcohol. Delicious.
No,
You like it?
No.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. I don't like that.
How? You liked the drink.
like it.
That's the essence of what a lychee is.
There was vodka.
I kicked your
in the
camera
drink.
again.
There was vodka. Can you stop it? Everything's gonna be thrown off. I'm not gonna be able to use that angle. That's not true. I'll be able to use it. I know as a person in entertainment how AI is looking to affect my industry. How is it looking to affect medicine? Because it's looking, and I'll say this, entertainment, generally negative. Less artists hired. But I heard of a really cool thing with AI where they taught this AI how to recognize cancer. I think it was lung cancer or breast cancer. I forget. General this area cancer. Because
There's a lot in that area.
there is a lot in that area, but I
There's
remember
bone, muscle.
but I remember it was a chest like X-ray that would, or not X-ray or MRI or something. It was general torso area. That was
a doctor, ladies and gentlemen.
I know things about stuff. Stop kicking my tripod.
I didn't kick anything. My feet are over here.
This time, I read about an AI that detected early signs of some kind of cancer, like 38 weeks before the general accepted.
But how? How did they detect it? Based on physical things they saw in a person or findings
I
or what?
believe it was data from the scans.
Okay, so they looked at imaging. Okay, okay.
Imaging.
Okay.
That's the word. Imaging. That's the word. I'm going to eat another one, even though
I'm a
like
kind
it.
of doctor, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
See, you liked it.
No, I don't. I'm just nervous. I need something to do. The second one wasn't bad.
They're so good. They're too sweet, and that's why I like them with the vodka because it tones it down like a lemon.
Put one more in the thing.
I just didn't eat a lot today. I can't just eat lychees.
There are 9 more lychees that you can eat.
That doesn't mean I should eat them.
They're not bad for you.
They're a fruit with a lot of sugar, I assume.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they were canned.
Oh.
You know.
It's like eating a whole thing of maraschino cherries.
Well, okay, so I heard that maraschino cherries are like the worst food product for you. Air quotes around the second food for people that are just listening. That you can eat. Like the red dye number 6 soaked red cherries are like one of the worst things that you can eat.
You know, when I used to go to the bar, there was a bartender who would give me a whole cup of maraschino cherries.
You'd eat the whole thing, wouldn't you?
I would eat a lot of them.
Yeah.
He must have hated me.
Why would he hate you?
Because he was giving me the red dye number 6.
You look like you, and he didn't know that. So he didn't hate you, obviously. All right.
Stop.
You said we're at.
You're just flirting with me on camera.
Obviously, we're at 88 minutes.
Sorry. Any burning questions?
I mean, if we're willing to keep going.
But you're fucked. I got it.
Am I?
Yeah.
All right, let's see it.
This is my shirt.
It's pink.
Pink. You said lilac.
Oh, see, here's where you're fucked because I have a recording.
You said it was the color of my.
Well, most recently, like 6 drinks in, but like I said, pink earlier.
You can
show the camera.
You're gonna look
Show the
at
camera.
the. No.
Show that to the.
Where do I
show that to
it?
and literally any camera.
Okay, this is me and my best friend.
Remember when I said pink earlier?
I think I'm not in the right frame.
Do you remember when I said pink earlier?
It's not. No. He said lavender. He said periwinkle. You said.
Well, I was trying to get specific.
Right. So you're saying light blue or light purple?
No, you said I'm a boy, so I probably saw pink and thought light blue or light purple.
No. Oh my god! I cannot wait till I pulled it out of the frame. I cannot wait till you all say that I am correct and he is wrong. It's clearly pink. My hair is stuck on your microphone.
I might have said purple, but still.
I
said
I'm sorry.
pink or purple.
No, you did not. It's okay, guys.
I'm
He
so
meets lots
excited.
of women when he's
I'm
bartending,
so excited.
and he couldn't
I'm
remember
so-
which was what.
Are you willing to place a bet on it?
Oh, 1,000%.
Name your stakes.
Oh, you can't do that. You have to name them first.
I'm so confident I'm right. I am so confident that I said that is almost exactly the color that I pictured in my head.
Okay.
So I either pictured a light purple or like a very dark pink. So I said
well,
either
that's
pink or
great,
purple.
but you did not say pink. So I will tell you what you have to do if you lose, and you can tell me what I have to do if I lose, okay? If you lose, we'll do a beach trip, and I don't care how cold the water is, you have to go in straight away. With all your clothes on. The water's cold right now. That's why I'm thinking that.
I need to wear my clothes, or I can wear my clothes or less. Because, like, the clothes is almost the worst part.
That's what I'm saying. You have to wear your clothes.
So I have to wear clothes.
Right. It'll keep you cold. That's the point.
Define clothes. Jeans, shirt, jeans, sweatshirt, jacket.
T-shirt and shorts, at least. I don't want you to drown. I am lifeguard certified, but come on.
Well, no. I mean, I'm not going into where I'm treading water. I'm going in until everything's wet. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of how I showed up here tonight.
Right? It was raining.
It was pouring.
Okay. So if I'm wrong, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. What if I'm wrong? Interesting.
A Jake's or 3 Sheets bar tab on you.
That's fair.
Mm.
You know, I would have not gone there had it not been for our event, but it's okay. It was very young.
I wouldn't be. No, it
you
doesn't.
think that
It
if you
doesn't
were-
surprise me.
You think if you were not bartending, bouncing, if I came up as a 20-year-old, you wouldn't have let me in?
No, that's my point.
Right.
I'm not surprised.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm not surprised that you got in. I believe that immediately.
Although I was blonde at the time, which is crazy. Not great. There's very few photos of it. I'm already going to beat you there. Very few photos of it.
Very few, but not zero.
Because it's not great.
Interesting.
I'm an Italian Jersey girl. These dark locks are
Dark
the
locks
best.
be dark. Interesting. Interesting. Definitely not. No, you're not allowed.
A lightweight. It's fine.
You're not. Well, you're not a lightweight.
Right. If I'm just a tiny girl, so that's where my lightweightness comes from. But for a tiny girl, I'm pretty good.
I weigh like twice as much as you, and it's all muscle. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
I can say it if you want me to record it. You weigh twice as much as me, but it's all muscle.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I can't wait to post that in 3 minutes.
Is there a sign off you do or what?
Not really. Just
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time, Doctor.
You.
All right, that was weird. Stop. We're done. I don't
Had
have
a great
producer.
time.
I just have to stop this myself.